Welcome to another episode of Mojave River Valley News. I'm your host, Eric Swanson, and what we're doing today, we're doing campaign interviews. These are folks in the Mojave River Valley that are running for office here. We got some great ones that are coming up here. Stay with us, we'll be right back with you in just a moment. Hey, in a few moments here, I'm going to be sitting down with Curt Emick. Now, Curt Emick currently sits on the town of Apple Valley's council. Now, one of the interesting things that's happened in Apple Valley has moved to having a separate mayor and 4 council members, which is a whole different type of thing. But it'll be interesting to see what Curt has to say about where, the town of Apple Valley is going next, what's going to be happening, what kind of direction everything's going to be. It's kind of a little bit different for them out there. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back with you in just a few moments. I'm here with Curt Emick, and you are currently on the council, and you've been on there for a little while.
2010.
2010. So, tell the folks a little bit that may not know who you are, just tell them who you are.
Well, besides being on the council, I've done a number of things. Went through the chambers about 20 years ago, leadership. Have been involved with the local community in various factions. I've been on the Rotary. I've been president of the Rotary, Sunshine Rotary back in the day when they had it. Also a pharmacist. Been doing that up here in the high desert since '82. Started with Jimco and been to various other stores. Had my own store for 18 years, I believe it was. So I understand that part of business and things. And I'm still a pharmacist today. Working full time.
You have been involved with this multi-million-dollar organization. And you guys have been working together very, very well. What do you see, for example, why are you running it?
There's some unfinished business, as everybody says, but in this particular case, we have an appeal process going with the court ruling on the water.
Right.
That's probably a priority. We're working on a lot of other issues as far as the town and development in the North Apple Valley region. That's the Bright Line.
Right.
And some other things that we're working on. Also, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a pharmacist too. There's a lot of drug stuff in the things that are happening, especially in California. Mm-hmm. But of course, the border and all the fentanyl coming across. We have an issue. I'm always in close contact with law enforcement, trying to figure out what's going on because being a pharmacist, I understand medications, obviously, side effects and other things. So it's not just, all those things play a role. When I started in 2010, there was hardly any drug talk.
Right, good point. So one of the things that we're seeing from the state, all this stuff here I want to touch on is like the pressure of affordable housing. It's coming on the cities. It's like, if you don't have your numbers there, they're saying, well, we're going to cut your funding and whatever. What do you see where Apple Valley is going to be able to either handle that, or what do you guys need to do to be able to address the affordable housing?
The affordable housing becomes an issue when we lost redevelopment funds. I'm telling you, that's probably was our best avenue to get that done, and that was taken away. Now, there's so many rules and regulations. We have fees that's a state and other things happen. How does it become affordable once you pay all these things?
Right.
CEQA, all these other things. So how do you do that? It's going to have to be a private-public partnership in some form or another. I don't see any other way. Government, local government, we don't have that much funding.
But it's interesting because I know that the talking to other folks out there, because we're watching the price of homes going nuts. We're watching, labor's not going up. We're still seeing people buying houses. Mm-hmm. What do you think that trend is from?
I think people are trying to move out of down the hill. I think we're seeing more traffic on the freeway going down the Cajon Pass because it's pretty much a standstill no matter when you're going. I think you're seeing a lot of movement. Mm-hmm. And if they're in the big city, they can sell their house down there for, like you say, a higher price. Move out here, buy something, and pay cash.
Pay cash for it, yeah, for sure.
So I think that's happening.
So let's take a second. Let's move on to money, because I know that you and I have talked about that before. Because you can have a wish list that could be a mile long of all these great things you can do for the community, but if you don't have the resources, the money, you can't get that. You guys have 2 corridors, and then hopefully I know you guys are hoping to develop the Bright Line, and we can talk about that in a second. But
Where do you see that maybe you can capture more of those transient dollars as they're passing through town?
Well, that's why we annexed in everything along the Brightline area where the station's supposed to go. So there's a lot of development, gas stations, hotels, restaurants, any support businesses
Right.
that will be in that area. That gives us a little bit of that corridor, that's the 15. So that corridor we think we have handled, and that's why we're kind of developing the North Apple Valley area. We already have 3 warehouses out there. Hopefully we'll get another warehouse near that out there too as well. And I know a lot of the communities, that is a trend. When you start shipping things, buying it home and shipping it to your house, there's a lot of need for those kind of facilities. And I think Sperry and some of the others have cashed in on that just a little bit.
Well, the challenge of the cities dealing with, the tactile shopping where people go and they touch something and walk out. Now today, they punch their mouse on the screen and it shows up.
Right.
Because that's got to be digging into
It hurts our local businesses, and we try to push for that. Unfortunately, the taxes that are paid on the mail order stuff aren't necessarily, in my opinion, being divided evenly.
No.
And that's a problem. I won't go into the details, we don't have time for that. But they're working on it. In our lobbying group, the League of Cities, has been trying to get something happening so that certain cities that have these big warehouses don't literally get paid almost twice as much.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see.
We only have a few seconds, and you touched on something I want to come back to, and I recognize there's only, because it's still litigation, the water. I don't know how much you can actually say to that, because you want to be involved to get closure on it.
Well, we want to get closure on it. I can't talk about what happens in closed session.
Right.
I can just tell you that we are moving forward with the appeal process. We hope to obviously come out positive with that and give the town, the town already voted to take the water. I mean, we had that on our ballot. We're just pushing that through. To me, it's kind of, my dad grew up as my dad was an attorney, so when I'm looking at this going, the judge has decided that we can't take it and that it can stay the way it is, and our water being in control of a firm that's in another country.
Right.
And guaranteed, 9 to 10% profit no matter what?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with this picture. There's no way.
Well, let's take the last few moments here, and if you could, throw your pitch out there. Why should they vote for Curt Emick?
Well, I think one thing is first of all, I probably get along with everybody on the council. We don't always agree with everything. We don't try to agree with everything. But we come off the council, we still talk to each other. We don't do a bunch of shenanigans to make it look like we don't know what we're doing. We actually, I believe, I can move forward with all the issues that I talked about before that are loose ends and come up and continue the conservative views that Apple Valley is proud to have.
Thank you for sharing with us today, Curt Emick.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Hey, we're back in the studio. We interviewed Curt Emick. He's running for the town of Apple Valley City Council. Without the partnership of the Greater High Desert Chamber of Commerce and Mark Creffield, along with Mojave River Valley News, these candidates would be difficult to bring to you. So anyway, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe on YouTube, please subscribe, ring the little bell, so more videos come across, you'll be able to get those. On behalf of the Chamber and Mojave River Valley News, we'll see you next time. Things that we're seeing from the state and all this stuff here, I want to touch on.